bring the meeting. I will call to order the meeting. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the library board meeting, Monday, October 24th, 4:15. And I will determine a quorum. Marvin said he would be here, but hasn't shown up yet on Zoom. So we'll start with Alan.
I'm here and I received my packet.
Thank you. Terry?
Yes, present, have the package.
Anne?
I'm here and I have the packet.
Ruth?
I'm here and I have the packet.
John?
I'm here and I have.
And I am also here and have the packet. You received the library board minutes of the meeting held September 19th, 2022. Do I hear a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any correction? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
Ruth?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you. With that, we'll turn it over to our director, Stephanie.
Thank you. I'm happy to announce that we have filled our final senior leadership position. Dawn Matthews, if you would say hello. Dawn is our new director of branch services, which opened up when Rana became chief public service officer. Dawn has served in many roles. I won't say how many years she's been here. It's been a couple. She's worked in collection development and acquisitions manager, reference and information services manager, city branch manager at LaSalle, and most recently area branch manager, which oversees Center, Lakeville, and North Liberty branch. So to move into director of branch services makes perfect sense. She's awesome. We love having her on the senior leadership team. And just a reminder and a refresher on the other senior leadership team members. We have Kara, who you all know, Rana, Karen Mann, Chief Resource Officer, Jenny, Chief Engagement Officer, and Anjanette, Chief Financial Officer. We had a really awesome staff day. Zach Benedict discussed libraries as anchor institutions and talked about the negative health outcomes of loneliness. It turns out that being lonely is worse for your health than smoking a pack a day. And so he just talked to us about how libraries are really set up to be a connection for people, which aligns so much with our mission and what we do here, and how important it is to just be that friendly face, get to know our patrons, and how that really does improve health outcomes for people, in addition to just being a kind thing to do. Lots of really good training. I think the hit of the day was Shark Tank, which was our way of allowing people to present their ideas, staff members to present ideas for new initiatives. And I love how that turned out, where the winning presentation was to have like a merch shop in the coffee shop. So we'll sell book and library related swag. And then that will fund one of the other proposals, which was for circulating baby brain kits, which are just kits that you can check out that have maybe a little book and a little toy and something for early literacy and baby brain development. So that was a lot of fun. We had some really entertaining staff. One Book, One Michiana. If you haven't seen that already, you can go in and vote. We're down to 3 titles. Gave a tour to County Councilman Randy Figg, who's a longtime library user. I heard the whole history of the buildings that used to be in this spot. Not back to the castle. Randy's not that old. But I did hear about how he used to come to story time here. So that was a fun tour. We've added iPads. You may have noticed outside this room and outside of all of our meeting and study rooms. Shortly, those should be connected to the just the schedule, so people can find their spot more easily. Oh, exciting events. If you walked in the front door, as opposed to this door right here, you may have seen the kindness machine that we have for the month.
It's gone.
It's going. We had it for a week.
Oh, no wonder we didn't see it.
It was a vending machine to encourage random acts of kindness. So you could get something for free. I paid $1 for something and I got a little box that I opened with my daughter that had chalk in it with a little card that said, write a note of encouragement in somebody's driveway. So we still have to do our job, but that was really a good thing. And then on October 7, we had over 100 community members in this side of the building doing the re-entry simulator, which is to see what it's like to come out of being incarcerated and get back into the community. And that was a partnership between the library, Goodwill of Michiana, Beacon Resource Center, Dismiss House, and Life Outside Reentry. So those are some of the really cool things. And then if you noticed, we're going to make some changes to the formatting of the agenda to use a consent agenda. And that hopefully will provide us a little more time for news and education pieces. One of the responsibilities of the board is always advocacy in the community, and it's hard to advocate for us if you don't know what we're up to. So the goal is to really make sure you all are informed. So if anyone has any questions, let me know.
Well, can you explain how the consent agenda is going to work? I see here you've got
Sure.
minutes, withdrawn materials, personnel changes to bill list. So
So all of those things that typically don't have a lot in the way of
Right.
questions, it's one motion, move to approve the consent agenda. And then it's one motion to approve the whole lot. At any time, if you do have questions, you can discuss that as part of that discussion, or you can pull something out if you think it needs more serious discussion and add it down to the regular new business portion.
the only thing I'd ask, if I can, board minutes, obviously, no problem, and the withdrawn materials is no problem. When it comes to personnel changes, I like, usually what we do is we'll get like a line or two about anything significant, and instead of us asking for that, I'd sort of like, I'd appreciate it if there are. And I don't know, can you do that?
I can put that in my board report, anything of particular note. So
Yeah,
a retirement,
Or just anything that we added, you know, whatever, that,
new positions.
yeah, left, or sometimes there's a little bit more, at least historically, it seems like sometimes to be a sentence or two about some of the personnel changes. So that might be helpful. And then bill list too, sometimes if there's anything out of the ordinary, usually this historically, there'd be a sentence or two, everything here is about the same except for this is here because we had 2 months, we had an extra payroll, so that's why this is more, or this is a debt service payment for the bond issue. Or
Sure, and I
if there's anything.
probably wouldn't put the debt service payment in there. We could, but we would probably list it separately.
Okay, I mean, I'm just trying to think, I mean, normally when we had those, there would be, I mean, it's not always, but I guess the point is, it's fine with me if it's consent, I don't care if it's one motion. But as long as you're highlighting anything or somebody's highlighting, you are.
Sure.
That you think we want to.
And one of our goals is with that financial report to make sure we're covering things a little more in depth. So looking at our cash flows, forecasting, anytime we do forecasting.
Right.
So to give a sort of a bigger picture view of what we're doing. And then, yes, always to point out anything unusual.
Yeah, and maybe that will be under the financial,
Mhm.
maybe that's how we come.
Okay, so let me summarize. In the consent agenda, we can talk about the items, but instead of 4 votes, it would be 1
Mhm.
vote.
Okay.
Yep.
If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
or if you think like you get your packet and you're like, whoa, I'm not sure about this bill list, you can ask at the beginning to have that pulled out of the consent agenda, and we would just put that under new business. We could pull anything out at any time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, I see that Lisa is not here. Any update on the Friends of the Library event?
Yes, we had a really great Friends of the Library fundraiser. It was our first music in the courtyard. That's not what we called it. Concert in the courtyard. Jenny's team did a great job of putting that on. We netted $2,000 from that fundraiser, which I think is really great for a first time event. The music was good, the food was good, people really enjoyed themselves, the weather held up. So it was a really great event. So I'm gonna do it next year.
We're talking about it.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah, it was definitely a foray into doing fundraising events. So it was a good chance to test out some ideas. But whatever it is, it will be bigger and better. And
Well, it's very labor intensive, so
making sure that we're doing something that kind of, hits the right balance is what we're aiming for.
excellent.
And then Jenny, if you want to talk about patron engagement while we're at it.
Would love to. So you all have the report. I just have a few items to pull out. One thing to note is our new cardholder retention rate. That is it's on the first page. It's one of the green bars and it says 56%. And that's an interesting, relatively newer metric that we've been using. And to give that a little bit of context, last year at this time, our retention rate was 32%. So what this means is that this year, 56% of the individuals who signed up for a library card last year during the month of September are continuing to actively use their library card. What we've seen is actually that rate has been increasing throughout the year. My expectation is that it will increase even more because we haven't yet reached the year mark where main library has been open. So I think we're seeing a lot of the fallout from our locations being more open, people getting excited about the new branch up there, the new library opening up, and just expanded, outreach programs. So I'm curious to see how that plays out over the year. I would also say that as far as that metric, we find it's higher. We're above. We're performing better than libraries of a similar caliber to ours, both in terms of population and budget. So that's one area that we've been able to succeed at over the past year. Speaking of new cardholders, we signed up 1,300 cardholders in September. 50% of these were signed up at main library. All locations experienced signups, but we also saw an additional 22% of that total being signed up at Tut and Western, which part of that is they are working hard to get school signups, so sometimes you get classes that come in and sign up. And I think it seemed like there was a batch of schools that were signing up, but also it's really encouraging that it shows that the staff are working very hard to make sure their community knows what a library card, the benefits that it offers. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to mention is that engaging with our new patrons, since that's sort of the focus of my point, is important. We do this in a few ways. Friendly, welcoming service when you come in the door. We did offer a coupon to the coffee code when you sign up for a library card. And then we also send out 5 welcome emails sporadically it's like 2 weeks after you sign up, if you sign up with an email address. And these emails do incredibly well. In fact, they have an average of a 42% open rate. And that's just an average over we find that the last email actually has the highest open rate. So it's nice to know that we have a channel for letting our new cardholders know about what the library has to offer.
And while you may think 42% is less than 50, it's a really great email open rate. If you think about how many emails you delete without ever opening them up, 42% is really strong.
Yes, I mean, someone actually clicked on it and said, yes, I will look at you. So we're pretty excited about that. One other note that's not tied to the patron engagement desk, but we do have a one seat available for an event we're attending on Thursday evening. If anyone is interested, please let me know to be part of the library table. Let me know after this.
What's the event?
It's La Noche at La Casa.
Thank you.
Madam President. I have a question.
Question accepted.
So I'm looking at the chart of on the page with the active cardholders and cardholder retention rate. And I see that you've broken out the number of inactive patrons re-engaged by branch. Do you have the new cardholder retention rate by branch? And the reason I'm asking is I'm thinking if you had these classes come in and they sign a lot of kids, but then the kids don't ever come back. That would be something to watch. So I just wonder about that. And, you know, I don't know that I need to see it. I'm just wondering if you're doing it.
I haven't looked at, that particular metric by branch. I look at, you know, monthly cardholder signups and kind of see what occasionally see what's going on. I think directly to that point, one of the things we're looking at with the kindergarten partnership we have going on with the schools is to see how library card signups at that point, how that translates to use after a year. So if we're signing up a whole bunch of kindergartners for a library card, are they going to use it? Or is it, you know, and I think that is somewhat of a proxy for what we can expect. So kind of these classroom signups. But that would be an interesting element to just do a snapshot look at how successful those signups are.
Thank you.
What is home library?
Pardon?
What is?
Oh, home library is the library. So it's either the library that you get your card from. So if you walk into Tut and sign up for your library card there.
Re-engaged by home library.
Yeah, you can also switch your home library if you move closer to German and you want that to be your hold pickup location is what it's largely used for patrons who have been with us for a while.
I see Marvin raising his hand. Hi, Marvin. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
May I come please
I'm-
note that Marvin is here via Zoom. Go ahead.
Yes. I wanted to compliment, that was Jenny talking, right?
Yes.
I couldn't, yes, I wanted to thank her and let you guys know how important the library has been to our Day of the Dead festival. When you came in, you probably saw the altar, but she's been instrumental as the library has been in our citywide celebration. It actually starts on Sunday. So I wanted to let you all know that. I think if Jenny's right, every library has an altar.
Yeah, there might have been one, but every library branch has an ofrenda that we created for the community.
Yes, Fenda, yeah. So that was she's been serving on our committee for the citywide celebration. So the library is very much involved in doing storytelling as well as the altar. So I want to thank her publicly, let you guys know the library is very much involved in what we've been doing.
Thank you.
And we'll be there on Sunday, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Any
Yep,
more questions,
big day.
comments? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the library director report and the engagement report?
So moved. Second.
I will call for the vote. Marvin?
Aye.
Okay. Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
Ruth?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And I also approve. From that, we will go to the library bill list. Is Anjanette going to?
Anything of note?
Are there any questions really that have anything specific to note on?
Was there any outstanding debt, anything closing, anything opening?
There were a few, there's still a few, building construction bills still open, but very few, most of those are closed out.
Okay. Any questions for Anjanette? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the library bill list and accounts payable list.
So moved. So
Second.
moved.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any other questions? Hearing none. Marvin,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
Ruth,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. Let's move to personnel changes. Kara,
So as Stephanie noted, we have all of these, so I'm very happy about, and she brought up Dawn specifically, as that one got filled within the last month. Additionally, Christine asked me to highlight the fact that Samantha is here, not because Rachel is gone. Rachel is still here. She is in the payroll role that she had moved into last month. And then the only other one I wanted to mention is that we have been looking for a maintenance technician since the beginning of time, really. And we have found somebody, we're very happy that he's.
Good. Question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I only have one question. It's not that I appreciate you introducing.
Samantha.
I do have one question. I noticed, and I'm sure is a simple explanation, there's a salary of librarian that's lined here. On page 4 of 5, 3 up in the bottom of the $250,000.
I think we discussed this at a previous board meeting where it just, because I'm the first line in payroll.
Right.
It puts all of payroll under
So the
that line,
salary of librarian is all,
all of payroll.
and there's no way to change that out to.
Anjanette and I are in the process of resolving some things, and that'll eventually get,
I do remember.
Yeah.
Since you said that. Okay.
we got a couple things we're working on.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions about human resource changes? Okay, hearing none. Do I hear a motion to approve the personnel changes?
Second.
And I will call for a vote. Marvin?
Aye.
Thank you. Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
Ruth?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you very much. There were no reports of special library board committees, so there will be no reports or votes. To the best of my knowledge, there is no unfinished business. And we can move into new business. Please tell us about the inflation stipend.
So you probably are all fully aware of the labor market and what it is doing right now. It's difficult to hire, it's difficult to retain. And you're probably also aware of what inflation has done over the last year. So we thought it would be appropriate to provide our staff with an inflation stipend. Anjanette can speak a little bit more to it in terms of the number and how we're prorating it at $1,000 for full-time staff. So if you're a 20-hour staff, it'll be $500. It's a one-time stipend, sort of to get us through the end of the year. And then we'll talk about wages and salaries at next month's board meeting. But Anjanette can talk about how it is that we know we can afford this.
So we looked at the overall budget and how much we have spent in payroll from the 3 quarters and then 1 week that we're into the 4th quarter. We looked at that and where we are with staffing and how we've allocated that throughout. We have the funds to be able to spend the $1,000 for the amount of employees that we have, which would take us to $147,000, give or take a few, at the day that we looked at who was on staff and who was there. So we should be able to comfortably give our employees an additional for one time because the inflation has gone from last year 6.1%, in the summer 9.1% in July, and right now the Social Security is tracking at 8.95%. So we think that with gas and everything else that this will be a good way to show our employees that we understand food costs and everything else are going on.
And my understanding is we really are being all-inclusive.
Yes.
Even the little part-time person who might work 10 hours a week will still get $100 or whatever.
Our substitutes who,
Substitutes.
some of them don't work a lot, but when they do work, we need them, and we want to retain our subs as much as we want to retain our full-time people.
And this will be paid out the first payroll in November. It's still taxed, obviously, but it would be a separate payroll, so no insurance payments and things like that would come out of that. It would be whatever your hours are, and then the tax will come out.
Yeah, so we all know that the $1,000 won't be they won't get 1,000, and they'll get 1,000 minus whatever taxes are withheld, so.
What's the total? Did somebody say, and I missed it?
147,000,
920.
925,
Oh. Okay.
if though all of those employees are still.
Gotcha.
Alan?
So just, so this is proposed for all employees except, I see, Stephanie, you exclude you. So I was curious, when you all did this, was there any discussion given to perhaps do this for some of the, I could see, especially for hourly folks, people at the bottom end of the spectrum, the $1,000, after what you mean a whole lot more than a lot of our folks on the, that are really more, and I'm looking at everybody here, that's, none of these are hourly, but I'm wondering, in addition to you, if you all had a discussion about doing this for the folks on the lower end, but not necessarily for the whole leadership team, just when you all came up with this, instead of just doing.
Sure, we briefly discussed it, but I want to keep all of them too.
Right.
So, but yes, you're right. And this is why we did not do a percent. Is because I thought it was important to make that significant impact to our hourly employees. Because as a percent of their income, it's
Right.
obviously much more significant.
Thank you. Other questions?
So, I can see this having an effect on people leaving. But on the hiring side, since we're not raising the wage, how is that?
Well, this is really through the end of the year. So in November, we'll bring our wages and salaries proposal for 2023. I would expect that would be an increase. But since Anjanette is so new, she needed more than 1 month. We needed one. All of that gets very complicated in terms of raising salaries across the board, just in terms of the math and being equitable. And so she is starting to get a handle on where we're at financially. Kara's got a whole metric already worked out. And we're looking at cost of living. MIT puts out a cost of living for like county by county basis. So we're looking at that, but there's a lot that goes into it. And we'll have those discussions more in depth this month, and we'll do something more permanent at the next board meeting that will take effect January 1st. So this is sort of, let's get through the end of the year. And then next year we'll look at more permanent stuff next month.
I'm wondering how this is going to be looked at by the taxpayers, who mostly are just having to suck it up right now. It's just going to look like, gosh, you guys really hand out money. I can hear it. I can hear it now.
I don't think that some negative Nellies are a reason to not do the right thing for our staff if we can afford it. We're very conscientious with our money, but our staff is the number one thing that sort of makes our mission happen in the community. And so it's so hard to hire right now for librarians. We not only the mechanical maintenance tech, sorry, titles, I'll get them all, the maintenance technician, but librarians, if we had a reader's advisory librarian position that's been open for months and months with no applicants. And if you post that job on ALA's job list and you pay to have it bumped to the top, it lives there for almost no time at all, because the first couple pages of job postings have been promoted by libraries. So it's a very difficult hiring climate. And so retention is super important. And I think it's important that we retain, and I think it's important that even if not everyone can do the right thing for their staff, that we do the right thing for our staff.
I also think in the way of hiring, Terry, that if you're thinking about good retention also being a recruitment tool, if our staff is leaving, then they're also not referring us as an employer of choice to their friends, to their families, to whoever is around. And I think, doing things that help our staff stay and help them be happy and healthy and thrive, can only help us with recruitment.
I don't doubt for a minute that what you're describing would be helpful, particularly on the retention and eventually on the hiring. You can tell I'm struggling a little with this. It's I've just never seen it, never run into it, never had to consider it. And I occasionally, everybody knows, fall back into my old business days and say, wait a minute. So I got it. You've answered
Ruth,
my
would you like
questions.
to address this?
Yeah, so, Terry, what the taxpayer is feeling no impact. I mean, their taxes aren't getting raised.
No,
So,
just the
And first of
fact
all, they'd
that,
have to know we were doing it, and I'm not sure that,
oh, I think it would get out, wouldn't it? I don't want to do anything we can't talk about.
no, I don't mean that. I don't think it's a highly controversial issue. And if, I don't know, I feel like there's no negative effect on the taxpayer.
No, it's a perception.
Yeah, well,
And we're, somewhat held accountable to be fiscally responsible.
Sure, and if you look at the 147 feels like a big number. It can feel like a big number unless you look at it in context of our entire personnel budget, which is, what is it, 10 million? So it's not, to put it in perspective, it's a small number compared with the 10 million. But you're right, everything we do should be justifiable to the taxpayer.
Maybe it's something that communications can work on. I see Anne's hand is up. Just to say, in keeping with the incredible inflation that we're facing, library staff is obviously facing the same inflation needs. And this is a small way of compensating the workers that have gone through this period of time. But Anne, I see your hand. Muted.
Still muted.
Still muted.
Now?
There we go.
Yes, we
perfect.
got you now.
Okay. For me, my answer would be, but this is money that's already budgeted. We haven't added something new to our budget. It's already been budgeted and the dollars are there and well within our ability to afford it. So along with the fact that it's the right thing to do, and you act the way that your mission is. I mean, again, a nonprofit is different than a business. And I appreciate your thoughts, but even as a business person, I would think you've got it in the budget. Why not use it to best advantage? Why have it sitting there? That would be part of my answer to a taxpayer.
Yeah, I hear you. I know. And it's hard for me to not drop back. What you described though would have the shareholders all over us.
Would have what?
Well,
Would have the shareholders all over our case because it would have
But
become
with-
profit.
But fortunately,
sure.
we don't have to do that.
I know, I have to keep separating.
And shareholders right now are taking a lot of flack from a lot of particularly young people
Mhm.
for their record profits. I mean, companies are posting record profits and all of our portfolios are down 20%, right? So yes, to your point, you could get flack for that sort of thing. But I still think obviously this is my recommendation because I think it's right for retention. I think it's right for our staff. And we have it in our budget. And to Anne's point, we haven't moved from another category into personnel to do this. It's what we've budgeted for. So I'm still going to throw my support behind the proposal.
and even looking from another angle, Terry, and I come from a business background also, so I do know about
Shareholders.
yes, shareholders, budget stakeholders, and of course, the whole tax community is our stakeholder. But possibly just saying we have cut back in number of staff. This is one way to have the staff that we do have feel appreciated and stay, because if we're within budget, it means that we're not filling positions that could be filled. Does that help? If you have to explain it to anyone.
That would be one part of the
I
explanation.
just,
I'm not, I don't want to make a big stink about it. I just,
No.
I love my position of contrarian.
I love it too, Terry. And I think we should talk about a philosophical difference between the nonprofit and the for-profit, which is, so as a library, if we have more than 150% of our budget retained as a cash balance, we expose ourselves to being under the discretion of the county council in terms of how we spend our money. They would have to want to do that. I don't think they want to, but it does open it up to us. So as far as I'm concerned, as long as we have a healthy cash balance, which we do, our job is to spend all of our money for the benefit of the taxpayers, because there's no point in us having a pot, because we're given the money by the taxpayers to do the work that we do. And we can't do that without our people.
I'm listening.
Thank you. Any other oh, Anne, I see your hand.
I just also wanted to say, I have heard that there are many companies who in fact have raised salaries because they can't hire anybody and they can't retain anybody. So even profit-making businesses need employees. So that to me is another argument for the business. And I find it's fine for you to be contrarian, because, you know, there are all kinds of opinions out there in the community and it helps sharpen our thinking. So I appreciate it.
And we need all points of view. We don't need to all march down the same street. We need every opinion. Alan?
Yeah, and my point was, and again, you know, this basically comes out to, like, if you annualize it, it's like 50 cents an hour. You can come to an extra 48 cents, basically an hour, by doing $1,000.
One time.
Well, yeah, so if you take that divided by 2,000 hours.
You're doing some quick math.
Well, I
Mhm.
But no, so it's 48 cents an hour for that, which 48 cents an hour if you're making $15. And for these, because if you look at the folks we hired today, there's a bunch of these folks here that are at the $12.92 and $13.50 and $15 and $16.13. And then we have a whole bunch of others that are going, they're going, you know, we have a 70, a 75, and an 87. From a 62, a 69, and 75,000. So we've got, so if you're making, you know, $60,000 a year, the extra, you know, so you're making almost $30 an hour, then the extra 50 cents is, you know, it's not going to matter so much it's not going to make the difference in your gas and your payroll, especially because you're paying taxes on it. So that's why I was asking you, and you obviously, when you made the recommendation, you excluded yourself. So that's why I was asking.
Right,
So I can definitely see this for the folks that are really at the bottom of that.
right.
poll. That's what I was asking for. And I'm not, you know,
Sure. Yeah. I didn't ask them to do it either.
no, that was your
And
recommendation.
yeah,
No, I understand.
Other questions, comments? Oh, Marvin? Hi,
Yes,
Marvin.
I'm
Go
gonna have to
ahead.
run because I gotta go to this 5 o'clock meeting. But all I wanted to say was I commend Stephanie for what she did and the staff. I think this is a great move. I see it every day where people are struggling to find jobs, but that don't pay. And if you're talking about childcare issues, you're talking about how people can work. A living wage is a living wage, and we have to pay that. And this is money that's not. We're not asking the city council or the common council for any more funds. The funds are there. And if we don't use them, then we're being, from my end of it, we're not being good stewards, especially to our employees. So.
Well, I'll call for proposal. Yes, approval.
yes. Do we have a motion on?
Do we have a motion? My mind just lost.
I
A
move.
motion,
I move. I got it.
Marvin, we got a second?
Second.
With that, please stay for the vote. Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Aye.
Terry, Ann,
Wait,
Aye.
Terry, next.
He says I twice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that's happened every time.
Oh, okay, I thought that was
No, that
you.
wasn't me, but
Okay,
you
Anne?
convinced.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, Ruth,
Hi.
John?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you, and I think
Thank
it
you,
is,
everyone.
thank you for the discussion. Okay, moving on.
I-
The
I have to
Wells-
run.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you for
Marvin.
attending.
See you guys.
Marvin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't make anybody else nervous.
We're not on
Thanks,
the.
Frank.
We're not on the road with him. Okay, moving on. The Wells Fargo resolution for certificate of incumbency.
We're going from complicated to super simple. We're named in a trust that is held by Wells Fargo. We cannot even get them to change our address without a piece of paper from the board saying that Anjanette and I are okay to make these decisions for the library. So if you would just say that Anjanette and I can in fact make these
I
decisions.
move that I think this is certificate of incumbency. I move that the two of you are the authorized entity representatives for this account, this Wells Fargo account that on page 39 of our board package.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? All right. Any other questions? Good. I will call for a vote. Ellen,
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
Ruth,
Hi.
John?
Aye.
I also.
Sorry,
Thank you.
and would like to offer a specialty latte for, one book.
And the approval is for the executive director to go ahead and change the hours as needed.
I think this is a wonderful recommendation because I have been here for weekend events, wanting a cup of coffee at 8 a.m. or whatever time. And I think it's a wonderful idea, but I don't do the motion. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So I move that the board authorize the executive director to approve changes in cafe hours during days or hours when the cafe is usually closed and there is a special event at the main library. That looks like that's the motion. Second.
And John seconds. Any questions?
Lisa's idea.
I'm just curious why this is a board issue. It seems administrative to me.
Anytime you're talking about the hours of operation for the library, that's a board decision. But you can authorize me. Now it is an administrative decision.
Thank you.
So we just moved it along.
Yep. So we don't have to come back to you every time we want to change the hours.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Ellen, Terry?
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
Ruth,
Hi.
John?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you very much. Next year's staff day.
Staffing. Yeah, so our staff development day, I thought we skipped something in there. Did we skip? There were no lines. Okay. So our staff really love getting this news in advance and staff, development day. We would like to ask the board to close all library locations on Thursday, September 28th, 2023 for our annual staff development day.
Next year.
Yes, next year.
23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you said
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Let me ask if there's a reason that it's a Thursday versus a Monday, but
So funny story. It used
Okay.
to always be on Thursday and we had always done it that way and staff in our survey said it really helps to do it on a Thursday versus a Monday because of, they're busy on Mondays and then they have a lot to catch up on Tuesdays when they come back.
So they can prepare better for a
They
Wednesday.
can prepare better, also setting up for the day is harder when it's a Sunday to set up. Be down, learned.
And it also makes less impact on the patrons.
Absolutely.
Good. Do I hear a motion to approve next year's staff day for September 28th, did you say?
Mhm.
Yes.
So moved.
So,
We've got several motions. One of them can be a second. Yes. All right, any other questions? All right, I'll call for the vote. Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
Ruth?
Hi,
John?
Aye.
And I also approve. Next, our 2023 Health and Life Insurance Renewal Presentation by Jody Kinsey.
Very good, thank you. You should have in your board packet an executive summary for our proposed benefits for 2023 plan year. Everybody have that? Okay. So a couple of things are outlined here for you. First, our experience year to date. We are running very closely to the expected claims costs for the year. The expected claims for 2022 through the month of September were pegged at 602,968. Our actual claims experience through the date is 546,362. So we're running at 90% of that expected claims cost. We beat that number. You can see in the bullet point to the right by $56,606. September claims were high. September was 128% of expected. If you look at that on an average on a per employee per year basis for claims, we're running at $7,493 per employee per year. That's slightly down from where we ended the year in 2021. We ended 2021 at $7,844 on a claims perspective per employee per year. Our average enrollment has remained very consistent. We've averaged 97 on the plan. Last year was 95. And our large claimant information, each of the last 3 years have averaged right at 3 individuals who have exceeded our individual specific stop loss to which we're funding up to that level. So we've had reinsurance reimbursement so far year to date of $50,746. That brings us to the renewal action, which is in your section 3 there. If we look, and these are all annualized numbers, our administrative expenses, which include paying the third-party administrator Ally for our benefits, our network access fees, COBRA administration, utilization review, all of those components. Currently, the number is $36,437. With the renewal, it's $38,495, which would represent a $2,058 change from 2022 to 2023 numbers. If we look at our stop loss premium, so that's the premium that we're paying the reinsurance carrier to provide us protection once any one individual hits claims at 60,000 or above, and the group as a whole on our aggregate protection, those numbers are actually reducing by 16%. If you look at current 539,892, with the renewal, it's 453,240, or a change negative of $86,652, which represents our 16% reduction. When we originally received the renewal and started meeting as a team preparing, we were actually looking at about a 13% increase. So we were able to leverage our market, negotiate strongly, and get those numbers down significantly, which saved the plan over $159,000 for what we were originally looking at. If you add the total fixed cost, which would be again your administrative expenses and stop loss premium, that today it's $576,329. With the renewal, $491,735, or an $84,594 reduction in your fixed known cost, which represents a 14.7% decrease. And again, originally we were looking at a 13% increase in cost. That's the fixed known cost. So then you have our claims liability. Our annual expected claims total for the current year, 796,820. With the renewal, it's 859,771, or a 7.9% increase in claims expected for the plan year. And that's really what medical trend and inflation is running at right now. So the net change is $62,951. Again, originally, we were looking at a 12.2% increase as it related to the claims, expected claims. Our maximum claims, which is our very worst case scenario, today, $1,098,000. With the renewal, $1,451,000, or $352,728 change. Total expected costs, and this is what we really run the budget on. Today, $1,373,149. With the revised renewal, again, after negotiation, we ended at $1,351,506, or a $21,643 reduction, reflecting a 1.6% reduction in expected claims cost for 2023. Any question on those numbers?
I mean, the numbers look great, but I'm just curious, if we go back to the last 5 years, you've been, your company has been.
Mhm.
So if we look at how many, do you have, if you have a sense, how many times in the last 5 years have we actually exceeded our total?
We have not.
We've
exceeded
never
that.
exceeded.
No,
So even though theoretically we could go up a $250,000 more, so there's 268,000, based upon everything we've seen,
correct.
is a strong likelihood.
The expected cost,
Expected is actually a savings.
you've got it on,
A
expected,
minimum of 21,000.
you got it. Yeah, reduction.
In my total time here, I don't know about John's, they've always come in. It's a good thing.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
I've never seen one go down.
Pardon me?
I've never seen one go down.
No. But if we did have that, and we don't want to change ourselves, that if we did get that one, if we went all the way, we got a significant claim and we went that way. There's a place in the budget, a rainy day fund, we've got the money there, or there's a way to cover that.
And usually if there is a whopper of a claim, we're already paying for the stop loss
Right.
insurance. Once it hits that, that's.
But that's what this is saying, though. This says if we go all the way to the stop loss, we'd actually, right? This says, that's what this is like. If
Yeah.
we had that catastrophic situation that we're not anticipating, the most we'd have to pay out is $268,000 more than when that's our maximum cost. Would be a 16%. It'd be 16% more. Right now, today, it's $1,675,000. This says we were agreeing to go all the way to $1,943,000.
Worst case scenario.
Right, is actually $268,000.
Correct.
Okay, so what is the recommendation?
So the recommendation is to continue with this, continue with our life, continue with our dental.
Yes.
And then also we wanted to add an optional, Kara,
Voluntary
voluntary.
for our staff.
Yeah, so our Anthem life insurance rates remain the same. There was no increase to the Anthem life rates. They remained the same. No increase to the vision rates. Those remain the same. The dental rates, which employees, is their contributions that did go up a minimal amount, about 3.5%. I've seen most dental renewals be in the range of about 10 to 12% this year. So I was very comfortable and happy with the 3.5, although we don't like passing along costs, obviously. But the dental was 3.5. The LTD went up 0.17 cents. which the total annual cost to the, library is, let's see, $477 annually, so I wouldn't recommend any change relative to that. Takes a lot more time in staff making the changes from a carrier to carrier. So my recommendation would be renew with the current stop loss, renew with Anthem Life, AD&D, long-term disability, dental, vision, and then allow us to offer an added benefit to employees, which is no cost to the library at all, giving them access to purchase additional life insurance through payroll deduction to help them from a financial security standpoint, making their family available to get additional life coverage, employee, spouse, or dependent children. And again, there's no cost to the library at all to offer that as an added benefit to employees.
But did you said something about go with the current stop loss? But this proposal, or this revised renewal, looks like it had the existing same stop loss.
It's the same stop loss carrier, they changed the
Same
name of
stop loss
the
carrier,
Yeah,
but the stop loss premium is going down.
you got it, Alan.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you for that clarification. Same carrier that provides our protection today, it just is a lower cost that are proposed. Yes, thank you for that clarification.
So the overall recommendation is an increase in premium of 4.03%. Am I getting that from the last page?
That was just the long-term disability.
Oh, okay, okay, it was just one person.
$477
Okay.
annually.
So
Life
expected
stays
health
the same,
is a little bit lower, life stays the same, dental goes up a little bit,
vision stay the same.
vision stayed the same. So the whole package, unless anyone wanted to pull any one piece of it out.
Give us some review. I'm not sure what we're actually doing.
There may have been a letter summarizing it, but, when I looked at last year, then that's all that was there.
Okay. No, it's okay. I mean,
Yeah, the executive summary is a new format. Before it was just a Word document.
Are we at a point where we can motion to approve continuation of our current insurer?
Our current, you could just say so moved.
So
Second,
We got a so moved in a second.
So
Are there
moved for what Jody said.
what she said.
Which,
so moved for what Jody said? Any other questions for Jody while we have her? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann? Ann,
Aye.
I see you. Okay, Ruth,
aye.
John?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you very much. With that, we're moving to library board resolution to declare excess withdrawn library materials. As you saw from the recommendation, we're no longer paying $1 for them. We are donating them.
And
Question?
this is the last time we're gonna do this motion like this.
Mhm.
I know. Well, we're going
We're
to
just gonna.
continue to
We're just gonna
approve.
make the consent resolution.
I think it's true. Marvin's not even here to make this joke about Christine.
I know. I lost my resolution. But anyway, do I have a motion to approve? Okay.
Second.
Thank you very much. Any questions? I think that what Stephanie said earlier or wrote in the board packet was there's really no mandate for us to pay the $1.
There used to be, I want to say
400 years
7 or
ago.
8 years ago, they changed that where we could just donate it. So it just makes an accounting,
Don't have to put the $1
doesn't
in.
have to write the check to the Friends of the Library. Yeah. For the $1.
You say 12 bucks?
Yes, that's nice. Okay, any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I will move to the vote. Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Ruth,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. No other new business. Do we have visitors who wish to speak today? Okay, I see a hand raised. Did you sign in, please? Your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
city. Southern branch in the city, the capacity of labor is. As a result of that, we're almost the neighborhood talking to people. We see that there's not a problem with diversity and inclusion in terms of women. But we don't really see any African Americans going into life, at least not me. And when we see that, we decide to look a little closer. We looked at the renovation project. And we asked people here for some information about the contract. We see 28 contractors, we see one woman contractor and no African American contractor. You guys were someone in the neighborhood of $40 million. Well, I engaged them, I very asked for some information. In the beginning, they were very forthcoming. They gave me the number of contractors, we talked about they did meet their responsibilities under local laws, which they said they were exempt from it. And apparently that's true because there are my municipal corporations that stands alone. But there's something called Title VI. Title VI says if you're a recipient of federal funds, you have to make genuine good faith efforts to ensure there's diversity and inclusion. Some people recognize that particular law is kind of overridden by a court case, but which was subsequently overridden by a new congressional bill, which ended up being a law called the Civil Rights Restoration Act. It says that if you're a recipient of federal funds, all of your operations, could say that one more time, all of your operations are subject to the anti-discrimination law of the federal government. I'm here to ask the board, do you know of any good faith effort that this body done to ensure that with minority involvement? In the absence of that, is the library even looking at a way to mitigate the harm they done to the Black community? That's my question.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We just take the information, we'll look into.
Well, they have to get about 8 of my cards up on the third
Okay.
floor. I'm sure they'll be able to reach me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other visitors who wish to speak? Hearing none, we'll move on to news and educational items.
Nothing this month?
Nothing this month. So we will move to our next board meeting, which is a closed session, which will follow this meeting immediately. And our next board meeting will be Monday, November 28th in this room at 4:15. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I was going to say all those in favor, I'll go through the vote. Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Ruth?
Bye.
John?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned. Everyone except the board and the director will stay in the meeting. And anyone on camera, we will just keep Ann on. Thank you.